Velma launched on January 13th. The trailer was so bad it made YouTube's Rewind look like the Avengers Endgame in hindsight. To say that it was a hot, steamy dump on the Scooby-Doo franchise as a whole was an understatement. It now sits at 6.7 million views in 3 days, with 10k likes and 350k dislikes. Within hours of the trailer going live, they immediately disabled the comments. That's how you know it had Seth Rogen's Santa Inc. energy.
Just so you know, the women of the North Pole make fun of one of your dicks. Have fun wondering whose it is.
I don't know about you, but what is it with media today having an antagonistic female lead that's not only short, annoying, and dumpy, but she seems to be a genuinely horrible and racist person? Is there like a connection here, or is it just me? The worst part is that HBO Max emailed me last night saying that the service was going up $1 extra. Now, what bizarro clown world do we live in that a company launches a show like Mindy Kaling's Velma and then immediately tells you you owe them extra money? HBO Max should be on goddamn discount. Initially, I didn't care about the show, till I got called out for being a reactionary bigot and a bad faith actor. You know, all the buzzwords that most people use when they have no argument.
This is more annoying than anything I've seen from Velma.
Then you clearly didn't watch Velma.
Fred Jones did not kill those 2 girls. His whole life, Fred has never had to lift a finger to do anything. He's been so pampered, his body hasn't even felt the need to fully mature.
I also decided to look at this person's Twitter page, and it's what you'd expect. This is what the kids call an NPC. Did you hear? It's a Gundam's an incel and a bigot. They also didn't like Velma much because Mindy Kaling liked a tweet from J.K. Rowling, which in this day and age on Twitter is tantamount to committing a hate crime, apparently. God forbid someone doesn't share my political and social opinions. Is this bigotry? They decided to also give my video a watch and somehow missed the humor in the video and reduced my existence to just simple homophobia.
You are a creature.
Now I understand why Zoomers today do so poorly in school. Their reading and listening comprehension skills are absolutely in the toilet.
I was told It's a Gundam isn't that bad. I thought I watched their video, and it just opens with them whining about gay Velma.
This is what's called humor. Darling, it's a joke.
You understand that I'm a lesbian. I'm a lesbian.
The fact that the day I was making the video and I Googled Velma, they like pride flags on her name and it was like explosives and celebrations. Do you not see the humor in all of that? My lead designer combed through the tweet thread timeline and had a pretty good laugh at people's hot takes on me. One of them was so limited in their faculties that they honestly assumed I was on the show because of my thumbnail.
Saw this part of the thumbnail before realizing whose video it was on and got scared. The most pathetic, whiny incel on YouTube.
I better call a doctor. I'm suffering from third-degree burns here. I'm absolutely being roasted. I lost a tweet, but someone else in the timeline was saying something like, all these people are living in 2016. So I guess that basically means it all goes back to Gamergate or something. But in 2016, hate to burst your bubble, but I was doing Fallout and Witcher 3 mods. Well, I just looked at what he posts, but I was saying I got scared because the idea that an official show would even have It's a Gundam included in any way, shape, or form. Now I gotta stop turning down offers to be on shows. You know, I'm gonna say this publicly now. I was in talks with people who worked on Rick and Morty. Suck it. You know, if I knew it would get that sort of reaction from people, I would have done it. It genuinely amazes me how someone like Adam Sessler can be mainstream and tweet the most hateful, vitriolic stuff I've ever seen. But the idea of me being on a cartoon show is completely abhorrent to these people. Oh, did you hear It's a Gundam sold some stuff for charity? For the Children's Hospital? Wow, what a raging incel. People like these, their virtue is a false virtue. Their support of anything lasts moments, if not days at best. Nietzsche called this the herd mentality and the herd morality. For example, Eric Butts, the guy who cried over the Star Wars trailer, if you remember. People rushed in and subbed to his channel. They sent love and support against the haters and the bad faith actors, such as myself, that laughed at him, crying at a completely homogenized corporate piece of media designed basically to try and sell you trash. Now look at Eric's channel. These people who subscribed to him forgot he even existed. Eric himself could be the living embodiment of Friedrich Nietzsche's The Last Man. But I won't get into philosophy with you because my character trope is that I'm a stupid incel and I can't go breaking my image or my brand now, can I? My point is, say what you want about me, finding humor in Eric Butts crying over Rey Skywalker or making fun of Velma, but at the end of the day, I at least remembered Eric Butts' name. His name is Robert Paulson. And I'm not even going to get into the Twitter conspiracy theories that Velma is a psyop so that quotation mark right-wing YouTubers can make videos to boost its SEO score. Yes, that's right. Warner Brothers, who is hemorrhaging money, canceling projects left and right, they just sold $1 billion worth of their music catalog to stay afloat. They took Batwoman, shelved the entire movie project, got rid of everything, and they're using it as a tax write-off rather than releasing it, which arguably would be a bigger train wreck than Velma itself. No. Warner Brothers put out Velma so the quartering could make 5 more videos a day.
What the f is this piece of shit?
That's the master plan. And Mindy Kaling is a right-wing transphobe Hollywood plant. You can't make it up. How do you look at this show and extrapolate it into that? You have to be just guzzling copium or political Kool-Aid. The fact anyone leads too far to the left or right is a sign of just, I don't know, political osmosis. I'm riffing here. But just not everything needs to be political. Not everything is some sort of grandiose plan by one side or the other. It's literally just a bad show. Twitter isn't a real place. It's a vortex of political and social madness where every wild delusion, machination, and sexual perversion is not only freely spoken, but it is parroted by other delusional sexual deviants who spend way too much time on their phone rather than accomplishing something meaningful in their lives. But what do I know? I'm an internet troll, apparently. So, needless to say, I decided to watch Velma. It wasn't other YouTubers making videos about it being woke or whatever. It was people on Twitter gaslighting me into it. Oh hey, guess who's trending on Reddit because of Velma? Thanks!
You love me! You really love me!
So after watching 2 episodes and falling asleep while viewing them, I giggled once. Velma is what you get when a millennial short on ideas but high on self-esteem is allowed to create a cartoon show. It's nothing more than a 2023 version of Daria, lacking all the charm, wit, and sophistication. Latched on to the Scooby-Doo IP, it has nothing in common with the legacy characters other than name and maybe style of dress. Modernized for a modern audience. This would lead me to believe, without an already established IP, no one would watch or care about this cartoon show. I do believe it's premeditated, but I don't believe that it's some elaborate psyop. Yes, the show is #1 on HBO Max currently, but for God's sakes, there's nothing else on HBO Max. It's new on a streaming site that has nothing on it. It's not a feat. It's like going to a marathon and beating 80-year-olds and then celebrating. Mindy Kaling's interpretation of Velma is nothing more than a self-insert, which at this point seems to be what she specializes in, playing roles as herself.
Anymore, so you can go now.
Excuse me? I think you can go. You dress like it's 1998. Your look is played out, and so are you. You're basic.
I'm sorry, Velma. I could feel you forcing that.
Yeah? You know what else feels forced? Your belief that you're the only one sleeping with the lead.
Now that's comedy.
Making her as a person seem as one-dimensional as the show itself. I don't know if the show is trying too hard or it's too predictable to the point of where the writing seems like they're not trying at all. Velma's psychotic and slightly racist and a
Female, colored, bisexual.
Shaggy in every sense of the word is a simp and about as situationally aware as a caterpillar. I mean, for God's sakes, he's trying to sell his organs to go on a date with Velma? That sounds like something an Amaranth fan would do. Daphne's a drug dealer slash high school mean girl who's also a
Female, colored, bisexual.
but you wouldn't know that she's supposed to be Asian without her telling you. I blame the Tumblr art style. Fred is a brain-dead rich kid with a small penis who can't even feed himself. Literally, that's not a joke. His character arc is he can't cut up food. I don't know, man.
You didn't mention Fred had a tiny dong.
Oh, yeah. Real baby carrot.
Cutties. Mother, cutties.
Oh my God, he is just like a little boy.
This show wouldn't be so universally panned if it was a new IP standing on its own legs. But as I said before, if it was, no one would watch it or care. I also failed to mention that the way the characters interact and speak to one another doesn't seem realistic.
Daphne, why would you deal drugs? You're beautiful and popular. Being a bad girl, too, just muddles your brand.
This doesn't make me a bad girl. According to TV, it's morally okay to deal drugs if your life is just kinda crappy. Like, your kid's sick, you're a widow with a mortgage, you have to live on a lake in Missouri.
Those are all white people, Daphne. Minorities on TV can only deal drugs to escape poverty. Wait, that's it. This is about you trying to run with your fancy rich crowd.
Yup.
Which makes me think that the writers themselves don't have many social interactions. Because who in God's name talks like this? After the show went live, critic scores as well as the viewer scores went down faster than a female police officer on a suspect in her custody. Stu, can I make that joke?
Velma has been the subject of review bombs on Rotten Tomato and IMDb. At the time of this writing, Velma has an 18 audience score as opposed to the 60 critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes. As of now, the critic rating has dropped to 50. On IMDb, the story is the same, with a 72% of the audience judging Velma a 1 out of 10.
I watched it. It's not good. Like, it would have been so much smarter to just make a new show and not attach it to a... Why is it so hard to understand that if you use legacy characters and you completely change them, people aren't going to enjoy it? It'd be like literally coming home one day and the neighborhood decided your mother needs to be gay because there's not enough representation for LGBTQ. And this woman you've known your entire life now has to dress like Melissa Etheridge and try and work on cars and pretend to love the ladybugs. You wouldn't sit there and go, yes, queen work. You'd be like, what are they doing to my mother? Well, the long and the short of it is, yeah, this show actually is kind of bad, unless you're easily amused. If you're into mindless self-indulgence, if you find the regular corpo crap to be interesting, if Star Wars tickled your fancy and you are a Reylo fan, who, by the way, they're still on Reddit mad at me for making fun of them. I mean, yeah, I'm the bad guy. Reylo's threatened Adam Driver's wife. I pointed out on Twitter. All of a sudden, I'm the freakazoid. Anyway, that's got nothing to do with this. I don't recommend the show unless you're having trouble sleeping. Then give it a watch. You'll pass right out. I guarantee. So for Ambien, yeah, this is a good show if you need to fall asleep and you have horrible, crippling insomnia.